Hello, everyone. Welcome to In the Know with Dr. Aidoo. I hope that everyone is doing well. So I am really excited today because we have our first spotlight interview. Remember, I had told you we would be talking to some of our community members. Well, we have our first one, and it is with none other than our very own Professor Craig Esherick. So instead of me taking the time and telling you about him, how about we go to the man himself? So with a In the Know welcome, Professor Craig Esherick.
I couldn't wait. I've prepared all day.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it and being willing to be my first interview. So the first question I have for you is, how long have you been a Mason and what is your role in our School of Sport, Recreation, and Tourism?
So it feels like yesterday that I just started, but this is my 14th year. And
Okay.
When I first started, I was an adjunct professor and I taught one class, and it was a class that I had designed that I had kind of brought over from NYU. I started out as an adjunct, turned into an instructor and then an assistant professor. And now I'm an associate professor. I'm the academic program coordinator for the sport management program. And I also coordinate the internship program with sport management too.
So you're definitely wearing a lot of hats.
Yes, I keep busy and I like that. I like being busy.
That's great. Well, so I think our students and our community members would like to know what your educational background is, because I know it's very interesting. But can you share a little bit about that with us?
Sure. So I was a finance major at the undergrad level at Georgetown University. And then I went to law school, not right after undergrad, but I went to law school after taking a year off. My original plan, I was a basketball player at Georgetown. My original plan was to try and play professional basketball over in Europe. And so I deferred my acceptance to law school for a year. And unfortunately, that plan did not work because nobody wanted me in Europe. Oh. And so I ended up being an assistant coach for a high school basketball team in Washington, D.C. The name of the high school was St. Anthony's High School. And I also worked for a finance company for that year. And then I started law school right after that.
All right. And kind of tied to that, I know you had a whole different career before you came to Mason. So tell us what that was.
Certainly. So I've actually had two careers before I came to Mason. The first one, I was a basketball coach for 25 years. I actually coached an AAU team when I was still in college. I was an assistant coach for a high school basketball team after graduating for college. And then I was a graduate assistant coach. I was an assistant coach, and then I was the head basketball coach at Georgetown University for 24 years. And then during that time, between 1986 and 1988, I was a scout and an assistant basketball coach for the United States men's Olympic team. And that was the year that the Olympics were in Seoul, Korea. And then after I finished my coaching career, I actually got involved in television. And I worked for a startup television network in New York called College Sports TV. And I actually still do TV now part-time. I only work during college basketball season, work for a variety of networks. I originally started out working for a network called Mid-Atlantic Sports Network and usually did about 10 games a year during college basketball season. I've done games for ESPN. I've done games for CBS, done games for Learfield, for Patriot League Sports Network. So it's something I really enjoy. I kind of keep my hand in the sport of basketball, stay in touch with some basketball coaches that I knew when I was coaching basketball. And I really can't believe I actually get paid for doing it. It's a lot of fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun. So where can we catch you on TV and when?
It's funny you asked that because this month is usually when I find out my schedule.
Okay.
And my schedule has been very thin the last year and a half because of COVID. There were a lot of teams that cut their schedule in half, that didn't do non-conference games, which is a lot of what I do. And so I'll find out pretty soon, probably by the first week in November, the last week in October, when I'm doing games. I probably will do a couple games for George Mason. So you'll see me doing some George Mason University games, maybe non-league. And then I'll do some games probably for the Patriot League. And the Patriot League are teams like Bucknell, Army, Navy, Lehigh. Local team is American University. So I'll do some games for them. I'm probably going to do a game for CBS at the end of the season. It'll be a national championship game, the National Junior College Men's Championship, which takes place in Hutchinson, Kansas. That game has been canceled 2 years in a row because of COVID, so I haven't been able to do that game, but I'm looking forward to hopefully doing that game this year for CBS.
So this is such news to me, and we have worked together for all this time. So please promise that when you get your schedule, you let
I will post my TV schedule on your office door.
Please do that, and I'll make sure the people.
And then I'm going to give you a test after the game to see if you actually watched.
Oh,
the games last 2 hours. That's a big time commitment.
Well, hey, you never know, but that is really fascinating. So you have all this experience, you're coaching, you are now on television, and then you decide, I want to be a professor. So how did that come about?
Totally by accident. I was working for, as I said, working for the television network up in New York, and a friend of mine was teaching at NYU in their graduate sport management program. He called me up, he'd heard I was in New York, and he said, would you mind coming and lecturing to my class? And I don't remember the class, but I came, I lectured, had a nice time. We went out and had a beer right after class. He invited me back about 2 weeks later to lecture in another class. And so I did that, and I did it again 3 times. And then the 4th time, I lectured in a third professor's class, and we go after class to just have dinner, have a meal. And there's 3 other professors from NYU there at the meal. I'm saying, what's going on? And so they recruited me to work there full time.
Oh, wow.
And so I was very interested. I loved doing the guest lecture bit for them, and really enjoyed the interaction with the students. But I was commuting to New York. I was in a profession before, the coaching profession, where I wasn't around my family and my wife a lot. And so I was kind of sick of it. I was kind of sick of going up to New York. So I told him, I said, look, I'm flattered, number one. Number two, I really do like this, but I'm really trying to figure out a way to get back to DC instead of going up to New York every week. And so the guy that was running the program at the time, who's actually an athletic director, assistant athletic director at Penn State now, his name is Bob Boland. Bob said, look, Craig, there's a really good program that just started in Fairfax, Virginia at George Mason. And what you should do is you should try and see if they would hire you as an adjunct. You can work for us at NYU and be an adjunct at both places at the same time. And then, hopefully they think you're good at your job, and maybe they'll hire you full time. So I said, great idea. So I did it. So for about a year and a half, I was still going back and forth up to New York. I was teaching at NYU, teaching at George Mason. And then luckily, the space opened up. Dave Wiggins and Bob Baker were the 2 people that I ended up talking to. The space opened up and they hired me full time. And that was back in, I think, 2008, 2007. Mm-hmm. And, like I said, I've been here ever since.
Well, when you see your friend Bob, tell him we say thank you, because
I will do that, and I will remember you said that too. Thank you.
Yes. All right. So switching gears a little bit, venturing into the personal, could you share about your family?
Certainly. So I'm happily married, and I've been married now for 30. I think my anniversary, and I'm going to get killed if I don't remember my anniversary. I think it's
and it's going to be on video.
36 years. And okay. I got married in August of 1985. August of 1985. Okay. And I have 2 sons. I have a 28-year-old who works for a headhunter in Tysons, Virginia. He looks for CFO jobs, financial and accounting jobs for people. And he went to University of South Carolina. He actually was a minor in sport management, and his name is Nico. And then I have another son, Zachary, and he's 25, and he actually wants to get into coaching. So he's going to be an assistant coach this year for a high school in DC, and his plan is to possibly try and get a graduate assistant's position in college next year.
Okay. And your wife?
My wife, okay, I forgot. Yes, I'm married. My wife, she is a prosecutor. She worked for the local DA's office for 32 years, and now she works for the Department of Justice. Okay. She works in the Office of Legislative Affairs, and she's been there now for 2 years.
Pretty cool.
And okay, let me add one more thing. She's actually a teacher also. She teaches in our law school, and the last 2 summers she's taught a class called The Role of the Prosecutor.
The role of the prosecutor. I in my dreams have thought about law school, but only in my dreams. All right, moving on. Hobbies. Do you have time for fun?
Well, I do. Believe it or not, I actually, one of my hobbies, I actually enjoy reading. And I try and read outside of my profession. It's hard to do because you got to stay up with your research and stay up with the sports industry. So I feel I'm constantly reading, but I actually do enjoy reading and have enjoyed reading for a very long time. So reading is one. I actually have a vegetable garden, and I have a very good spice garden. Rosemary and basil are the 2 that I have right now that are growing very well. I tried some zucchini, didn't work very well this summer. I grew some green peppers, they were okay. Tried some cucumbers, never really caught. I have a flower garden too that actually was pretty nice, and I grew some cherry tomatoes. So that was the extent of my garden. And I play golf. I enjoy playing golf, and I played golf for probably 30, 40 years now, and I enjoyed it a lot.
So I was going to ask, with your garden, this is all you, or? Just me.
No. My wife does not do anything outside the house. I'm in charge of everything on the outside. She doesn't even know how to start our lawnmower. I cut the grass, and I do the mulching and all that stuff too in our yard. I don't touch the inside of the house.
That seems fair. So my next question was going to be, tell us something that would surprise us to know. I feel like you've done that the whole interview. I walked in thinking I knew. I didn't know a whole lot, but tell us anyway. What is
okay? I actually think I told you this one time, but our viewers haven't heard this. I have a twin brother.
Yes.
His name is Mark, and he's a lobbyist for a German conglomerate. It's a manufacturing company called Siemens. They're based in Munich, Germany, and he's been a lobbyist for a very long time. He went to James Madison University, and as I said, I went to Georgetown. Okay. And we are what's called fraternal twins. We don't look anything alike. He looks like my father's side of the family. In fact, he's the spitting image of my father's side of the family, and I'm clearly on my mother's side. He's 3 minutes younger than me. I came out 3 minutes before he did, and he has never let me forget.
Oh. He has never let you forget.
He has never let me forget that I came out 3 minutes early. We're very good friends, very close. He lives in Arlington, comes over the house. We just played golf together on Monday, so I see him all the time.
Oh, that is really cool. So this has been fascinating. I have learned so much. I thought I knew, I did not. But as we wrap this up, bringing it back to our students, what would be one piece of advice you would offer as they get ready, as they're going through, our programs, getting ready for their future careers?
Well, this is the same advice. I actually did something like this in my professional development class last week, and it's the same advice I give my students, and I actually use a component of this in all of my classes. The importance of writing skills and the importance of public speaking skills cannot be minimized in any way, shape, or form. If you write well and you speak well, you will always have a job and you'll be able to keep a job. Those two skills are the most important.
Those are truly important skills. So thank you for sharing that. Well, Professor Esherick, this has been amazing. Again, I thank you for coming on and sharing with us. I know our SRTM community is going to be excited to learn all these things about you, and thank you for your piece of advice.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I expect the check. Is the check in the mail?
We'll talk about that later.
The check's in the mail, right?
Make sure you check your mailbox. Like dig deep into it.
Thank you very much.
Everyone else.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I enjoyed
Professor
it.
Esherick.
Thank you very much.
So everyone else, here is Professor Esherick, one of our faculty members in the school. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Remember, we're going to be posting our videos on our Instagram page. The handle is @GMU_SRTM, @GMU_SRTM. So until the next time, with In the Know with Dr. Aidoo, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you later. Bye.